And we are back with another episode of Before You Buy, the show where we give you some straight up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. Today we're talking about Crysis Remastered. We're taking a quick look here. It seemingly quietly released on consoles and PC yesterday, September 18th, and no websites or YouTubers seem to have really gotten early access to it, so everyone is jumping in for the first time here. Our first impressions here are based on the PC version. We tested it on PC because we wanted to try to max it out. It's Crysis. We can't help ourselves. This game was legendary for its time, for its graphics. It originally released in 2007 and was famous for its large environments, lush foliage, amazing lighting, and destructible elements in the environments. Also, let me explain the meme real quick. Humor me, maybe for people who don't know. Sorry, maybe some younger people, because we're getting old now. For years, PC players judged everything kind of on, can it run Crysis? Like, that was kind of like the spoken phrase joke. From people on forums and chat rooms to kids in high school, if your rig could handle Crysis, you had the good stuff. This was the game legendary for kind of separating the men from the boys in the world of PC power. Crysis kind of lived on for quite some time, being ported to some consoles and stuff, but ultimately it was just an okay game, at least for me personally. The graphics were really the main thing. Didn't find it very memorable other than the visuals and some specific cool sequences here and there. It did get a bit more interesting narratively and scenario-wise later in the game towards the end, I remember, but to be honest, a lot of my memory is really fuzzy. I played the game back when it first released almost through its entirety at my friend's house, and then I dabbled in Warhead, and then that was really it. To be honest, I kind of forgot it after that. So what we've got here is the Crysis game pretty much intact. It's a straightforward experience. You're dropped onto a tropical island occupied by North Korean, of course, forces, and you're an elite special forces super soldier with a high-powered nanosuit. Your code name is Nomad, and you have a rescue objective, but things very quickly get way more complicated when you discover there's an alien presence on the island. It's an action-focused, high-energy shooter with a splash of tacticalness to it. You have suit abilities, which pull from an energy meter that refills, serving kind of as like a quick cooldown. So you can do a big super jump, you can run very fast, you can pick up and throw heavy stuff, including humans, and most importantly, on the fly, you can armor up to withstand some incoming fire, or you can press another button and activate an invisibility cloak. There's a bit more as it goes on, but that's kind of like the main thing. Also, the vehicles are very Far Cry style, where you can kind of just hop in and drive around and engage with enemies, and there's also some on-the-fly weapon attachments. That was a pretty revolutionary system back in the day. You hold down a button, and your character, Nomad, kind of like holds up his gun, and with a button press, you can toggle a silencer or different sights, different attachments on different spots in the gun. And it's simple, but very effective and still pretty sweet to this day. Shooting otherwise, while the feedback isn't great and the sound isn't great, it feels fine. ADS feels fine. The reticle and the feedback, I think, feel a bit outdated, like I said, but maybe we're missing something over here. Did they get rid of the lean function? Which it feels like a strange omission, I get modernizing games, but when you're playing on PC, that stuff can still be useful to have at your fingertips, guys. Also, there's no quick saving. Another PC staple, and a thing from the old game. Taken out here, that kind of sucks, but at the very least, there is an autosave that is pretty aggressive, but yeah. The other issue is that while the shooting can still be, simple fun, man, they did not really seem to fix or clean up the AI at all. The human characters are straight up distractingly dumb. Sometimes they don't even notice you until you're right up in their face, and I'm not talking like when you're invisible. Sometimes, like in a group of two, one guy did not notice me gunning down his best friend right next to him. Other times, random guards can see you coming from practically like a mile away. How? Like, it's just so all over the place. Being spotted like that, or just not really realizing you're spotted, doesn't add to the challenge too much. It just kind of feels like the AI has no rules and is held together with 2 paper clips and a piece of gum. The stealth aspect could be fun, it is nice using your cloak to slip away or reposition or just get the advantage on the enemy, but there's no other real stealth aspects at all because the game is older. Honestly, it's a 2007 game, so there's not really any other distraction tools, there's no detection meters, so it all feels really rough and sometimes not very fun. Also, if we're talking about the AI, sometimes I've encountered some really weird stuff, weird glitches, like soldiers just sleeping on the ground in the middle of like random places where everyone else is around. Like, for example, I had an encounter in the middle of a roadblock checkpoint outpost thing. I shot all the soldiers, used grenades, it was a big battle, the whole 9 yards, only to then afterwards, when the smoke cleared, find one more icon, enemy icon on the map, and it's just a dude laying, sleeping on the ground in the middle of all of it. There are some weird glitches that happen here and there. I don't get it. The aliens in the game are less of a problem, at least, but still. That's all a shame, because when the game is good, it's pretty good. You know, scouting out a base with your binoculars, then jumping down and using all your superpowers and cool guns and tossing grenades and running super fast. It can be fun, especially with the destructibility. It was amazing at the time, and frankly, it's straight up still really impressive today. Like, palm trees and bushes and brush can get cut down by gunfire, and they all fall down pretty realistically. Small shacks and certain little buildings can get completely blasted away. You know, shelves collapse, walls fall down, roof siding falls off, barrels explode, dudes go flying. This really is impressive, and the destruction coupled with some visual effects really just make it satisfying to fire your gun like a crazy person and cause all this chaos. So, although a lot of the game really didn't age too well, a lot of it still feels like a 2007 game, some of the raw destruction and some of the vehicle stuff can be really satisfying. It's just a simple game objective-wise, you know. Sometimes there are diversions and side objectives, but it's really all about just kind of goofing around in your enemy encounters in the big areas. And getting like the sniper rifle and some of the more futuristic weapons down the line make it a bit cooler too. Now, of course, let's acknowledge the visuals. First, I do want to say that we did play the PC version. I want to make a note that reportedly the Xbox version of the game is pretty broken right now at the time of making this video. We've seen multiple players and content creators point out some very big issues, like borderline devastating issues, so console owners definitely look into it before you buy. I've seen PlayStation 4 gameplay videos of it holding somewhat steady at 30 FPS, if you're okay with that, but again, since our time was limited with this one, we only jumped into the PC version. The PC version seems to suggest high settings, even for an RTX 2080 and a 2080 Ti build, both on our end. But then there's also very high mode and can it run Crysis mode. That's what it's called. It's kind of like a ridiculous overkill mode. We turned this mode on sporadically, and we were getting under 30 FPS, averaging in the mid-20s. Most of the time, we played on high at 1440 and 4K, and frame results were much better. Seemingly what you'd expect. You know, the can it run Crysis mode feels more like just embracing the old meme more than anything. But, you know, we appreciate it. Probably good for people with insane builds. So, I guess the legend continues there. But if we're talking more subjectively, looks-wise, the remaster itself, yes, it's nice that you can get modern effects, higher resolutions and textures, and some ray tracing in there. But this game doesn't look insanely amazing like it did when it launched. You know, original Crysis was, whoa, this is the future. And Crysis Remastered is more like, whoa, this is a remastered game. So do you know what I mean? I think their intention wasn't to completely revolutionize graphics again, just kind of preserve the game, you know, to be fair. You know, like, I think it looks good here, but it doesn't blow the doors down into the next generation of gaming. You know what I mean? I do like what they've done with some sky and cloud effects and smaller details, and also the color palette is really vibrant and updated and looks very nice and pops on a good monitor, and I think ultimately it's just an improvement on the look of the original game. But really, when we're down to it, is it worth it? Maybe. You know, if it's fixed up substantially, especially on console, and you get it on sale, you know, it's not a full price game anyway, and I still think it's impressive that they put it on Switch. I do really respect that. I actually almost wish we did a video just on the Switch version, but unfortunately our time is limited. This trip down memory lane overall isn't necessarily a must-buy right away. Still, this is a franchise that I have learned to enjoy. I'm still hoping for a Crysis 4 down the line. I still like the nanosuit stuff. I like the look of the suit, the way the powers have been embraced in the games, even after 1 with 2 and 3. I've seen speculation, maybe this is them testing the waters for a next Crysis game. I do want to say that, like, I hope a Crysis 4 really gets the care it deserves, because I feel like this version of Crysis is just, okay, you know? But of course, you know how this goes. This is a before you buy, give you some pros, some cons, and definitely some personal opinion. So now I want to hear yours down in the comments, especially because, like I said, said, this is just a quick look at the game, a quick overview. We haven't even gone through the entire game yet, but we'd love to know what you guys are thinking down in the comments. Maybe you Crysis diehards, or maybe just you PC gaming graphics enthusiasts. What are you guys thinking with this version? Would you rather just play the original version, maybe mod it out or something? And how do you feel about the gameplay? Are you as harsh on it as I am? Let's talk about all that Crysis stuff down in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, maybe we helped inform you a little bit. Clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. We do appreciate that. And if you're new, consider subscribing, maybe hitting that notification bell, because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.